Hello, I'm Monica Price and welcome to Cuppa TV. On today's show we welcome a lady that's turned her life of turmoil around and has recently won 2 awards for her work with her social enterprise, Breaking the Silence. She's here today to tell us about her life. Also today I'm joined by boy band Yayan, who formed last year and have just released a song about the refugee crisis. My first guest is a band that have all known each other since their school days and will be seeing their latest video, Place of Nowhere. We welcome the band Yayan. Welcome guys, welcome to Cuppa TV.
Thank you.
Your first TV appearance?
Yep. Yeah.
Fabulous that you've joined me. So guys, you're all a young band, you've all known each other for quite a long time.
Yeah. Yep.
So just tell us a little bit about, first of all, let's introduce ourselves. So introduce yourselves to me.
I'm Alex, the lead singer and guitarist.
Connor, I play guitar.
And
I'm Martin, I'm the bassist.
Sam, the drummer.
excellent. Now we're going to be seeing your video a bit later on in the programme, but Alex, just tell us a little about, you're the lead vocalist and you wrote the song that we're going to be listening to a little bit later on. How did you all get together?
Well, these three have been at school together, high school, and then I came into the sixth form, we all met and we all just became good friends, and we were just jamming together. I mean, they knew that I wrote songs and they were in a band, but I was just helping them out with another song. And it just kind of all came together.
Did it just kind of gel?
Yeah.
I mean, what did you think about it?
Well,
did you think, well, I'm going to be in a band, or did you think...
I think it was just a bit of fun when we first started, but it didn't really go that well, and then Alex was like the missing thing that we needed to properly write stuff, and then...
The missing link, Alex, you were the missing link.
And then it kicked off a bit, and then we started writing stuff, and then it...
Fantastic. And you've only been together
since November,
November last year.
Yeah.
So, and again, had you been in any other bands before you got together?
Yeah,
with this
we
one?
were, me, Connor and Martin were in a band, and we were awful. Yeah.
That's honesty for you, Sam.
Honesty is the best, because we were terrible.
Yeah,
and
I saw them play.
it's because we didn't practice at all.
No, never.
Yeah. But now that we've got Alex, we're actually all right now.
Do you feel that has kind of been the missing link?
Yeah.
So it's good. No pressure, Alex.
I mean,
you are that link.
I had no one to play with, which was sad. I had lots
No
of
one wanted
ideas,
him.
but no one to play with. And I mean, I did a few little performances on my own or with other people, but I mean, once we got together, it was all very committed, so it was really great.
Yeah, and I mean, when you sort of first looked at music, is it something for you, Alex? Is it something you've always been into? Have you always written your own songs?
Yeah, I started off playing the piano from a young age, and then I played the guitar and the drums, and then eventually I just made my own tunes and stuff. And when I realised like I could write some songs, I thought, oh, you know, I really want to do this. So I've always wanted to do it, really. And for you, what about, how did it start for you?
I started guitar when I was in primary school, but it kind of faded in secondary school because
the lessons were terrible.
Yeah, the lessons were terrible.
the music.
Yeah. And then
did you have good music lessons? I mean, did you have music lessons?
Yeah, we did, but
yeah.
it wasn't really.
We don't want to badmouth
targeted towards
our school.
Like if people wanted to learn guitar or piano, it wasn't really targeted like that. It was just a general thing.
So more sort of general music lesson.
And then it got to college, and then I started picking it up again.
So what inspired you?
Well, I was singing in our other band, but it wasn't that great, and really they needed a bassist, so I was like, I'll pick up bass. So I've only been playing for like less than a year.
Yeah.
Good though.
Really well though.
Really?
Yeah. Just literally, we got together, we didn't have a bassist, and he was like, you know what, I'll just pick up the bass now.
Thankfully it went well.
I was going to say, thankfully that must have gone very well.
Nice, good, yeah.
Good.
So
Picks up
before
really
that,
quickly.
had you ever seen yourself as a bassist, or have you just thought, oh, well,
No. Never. It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
That's great. Again, if you've got, now you play the bass guitar, do you practice quite a lot?
Yeah, like every day.
Yeah.
Is that important?
Yeah, you'll be on the
that you
toilet.
practice? And what about for you, Sam? How long have you been playing the drums?
Not that long actually. About like 2 years, because I never had lessons.
Never had a lesson in his life.
I play the trumpet. That's
great.
my first instrument, and I'm in all like brass bands and jazz bands and all that. So, but I'm always like fidgeting and like hitting things.
So
And then-
drummer's good for you then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's it, yeah.
channel your energy into that. It's all right. Yeah. So I think I'm an all right drummer.
You
I don't
are.
know.
For having no lessons.
Yeah.
Maybe you could include the trumpet maybe a bit later on.
We have done
we've got it in one of our
Yeah.
songs.
Have you done
Yeah.
it in your
little
song?
trumpet solo at the end of one of the songs, but you'll have to buy the album if you want to.
So
Cheeky
when did you
promotion
release
there.
your first single? What did you do? When was that?
Was that opening
I
doors?
don't remember whether it was Opening Doors or Place of Nowhere.
I think it was opening doors
I think it was
first.
And when was that? Was that last year?
No, it was about 3-4 months ago. Something like
Yeah.
that. So
Fantastic.
it's all been happening very fast.
It's weird.
Yeah.
With our first music video with that one, where we were actually in it.
If we
anyway.
think back to November to where we were then,
we
it was
wouldn't
like,
have seen it.
Sky was interested in managing us, and then we were nowhere really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a place of nowhere.
Oh,
That's a good title for a song.
no, don't even
But I
start.
mean, Place of Nowhere. I mean, let's talk about that because I mean that's got quite a serious subject, hasn't it? So again, tell us how that came about.
Well, I wrote it kind of before band got together, and it was just about general sort of poverty, war and peace on that subject, because I saw something on the news that really inspired me, and I felt really sorry for all the starving kids that have been left homeless from the civil war in Syria, and
So it's refugees
Yeah.
you were sort of concerned about and thought about.
I just thought, I'll write a song about it, but I didn't really think that anything was. I was going to use it for anything serious, but then we decided to make a video on it, and we tried getting UNICEF involved and stuff like that. But they've let us use their logo at the end, which is nice.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And have they supported your song? I mean, obviously they have if they've allowed you to use the logo, but are you getting involved with them?
Not
Not
as much as we
massively.
thought they would want to, but they've let us use the logo, so that's all right. And we said that any income we make from that song we'll give to charity as a donation.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
And when you wrote the song, how did you feel about it, guys? When Alex first proposed the song to you?
I enjoyed it. I
Yeah,
thought
Yeah.
liked it, yeah.
it's just a nice song.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Because
really
you're
powerful
obviously
lyrics.
the lead
Yeah.
vocalist, and you sing as well.
Yeah, I sing backing vocals.
So again, was it important to you? Did you feel the song? Was it a
Yeah,
good song?
the lyrics are really powerful, that everyone can just get behind it and just understand how other people are feeling.
And I mean, you are newly formed, but it seems to be happening very, very quickly for you. And
Yeah.
it's great. I mean, you're here on Cuppa TV, which is wonderful. Wonderful to have you here. What do you see your future, guys? What are you going to be doing? Are you gigging at the moment?
We've got a few.
We got gigs coming up.
So you've
Yeah.
got a few all around the UK or in one
Yeah,
particular
yeah,
spot?
Yeah.
around
So
quite a few.
working
Got to come to the
towards-
Birmingham, and then you've got to come to the West.
Yeah, it's
Come and
best
play with
place
us.
to go.
But I mean, is it important for you that you do go around the UK?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love to.
It's
I'd
a good
love to tour
experience.
the UK, because I mean it's where we come from, so we might as well.
People have to like us first, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
true.
That's the hard
I
step.
don't want to go
Yes.
around and no one have a clue.
And for you, Martin, as new bass player, just in the band, is this how you saw it?
Yeah, but kind of.
Is it what you thought it was going to be?
He's very
Yeah,
optimistic.
Yeah, I'm very optimistic, probably overly optimistic.
Yeah.
Like
There's
one
nothing wrong
small,
with that, though, is there?
yeah, one small thing happens, I just get really excited. Alex is the same,
Yeah.
but these two just put a
Means
downer on
something.
our
Just
excitement.
realistic. I mean, come
grounded.
on.
It's like the yin and the yang, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It balances out.
Yes, you've got the realists and the idealists,
Yeah.
which is wonderful. But for you though, Connor, is it when you're singing? Have you, because this is a very new band.
Yeah.
Have your voices? I've heard you, but obviously our audience hasn't heard you yet. And you've got a sore voice today, so unfortunately that's why you couldn't do an acoustic
Too many
version
J2
for
Ls.
us. But is it important that you practice and
Yeah,
become
definitely.
better?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I
Never have
didn't-
enough
At
practice.
first,
Yeah.
the backing vocals, it was kind of hard to get them to gel together
Yeah.
properly when we're playing live.
Because our voices are a bit different, but
but
we've
we've
like
kind of-
merged
we've
together a bit.
both- Yeah, we both sort of adjusted
Yeah,
in respect to each other.
That's
So,
great.
but it does take a lot of practice. that you
I'm the
have to-
judge of him.
Are
I
you
just
the
sit.
judge, sir?
I don't sing because I can't. I just sit there, and if it's bad, I'm like,
he still
oh,
wants a, he still wants a mic though too.
yeah.
Yeah, 'cause he doesn't shut up.
So, I mean, what's the future then, guys? I mean, you're gigging, you've got this release, this has just been released.
Yeah.
What's the future, do you think?
Well, we're working towards a record deal at the
Yeah.
moment, so there's quite a few people interested. So we're
Well, we
going
have
to
to
be doing a gig
impress.
in London, and to see how that goes, and maybe we'll get signed, maybe we won't, and we're just hoping that we'll get signed and we'll just progress from there.
And how do you describe, if you had to describe your music, how would you describe it?
It is quite...
Bad.
This is the
Quite
worst
a
question.
variety though,
Not a
isn't
good
it?
answer.
You're right.
It's quite varied. It's quite varied, but
Yeah, it does vary.
it does vary.
You couldn't really just say...
Is it one
oh,
particular
it's pop.
genre, or
No,
is
no.
It's kind of... You could overall...
It sounds
say
really
it's
pretentious when you're like, oh, it's not one
Yeah.
genre,
it? No, but
but
that's
it's
okay because
Yeah.
you know it's unique. You've obviously got a uniqueness to your genre of music.
Well,
There's
yeah.
nothing
Because we
wrong with
can-
that.
Like,
we
you
can
could say there's a
incorporate
pop
different
song
stuff.
And you could say there's a more rock song.
Yeah.
So...
Because
it's kinda like-
we have
Just
we have
depends.
tools to incorporate, like Sam's trumpet. Like not a lot of people might not have that.
he
but-
plays viola.
Yeah.
Yay.
So
So are you going to bring all these new instruments into your new songs?
Hopefully,
I think we should,
Yeah.
we should at
I've
least
used
try.
the viola once, actually.
Yeah.
So are you writing at the moment?
He always-
all the
Yeah,
time.
never stops.
Yeah. I just spit it out all over the place.
And you're just looking forward to the future then, really?
Yeah.
Guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, we're gonna listen to your video. So, but before we do that, so just introduce your video then to us.
This is Place of Nowhere, and it's footage of the poor refugees that have been made homeless or they're starving from the Syrian crisis.
Okay, that's brilliant. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for coming on Cuppa
Thank you
TV.
for having
I
us.
wish you all the best for the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it. We're going to take a quick break, but come back and join us after the break. And for now, we're going to listen to the new video.
The daytime heat waves getting me. I can't make peace with my enemies. Looking down sides, fires I can see 'em. Death, destruction haunting me. And we're standing in a place of nowhere. Yeah, we're standing in a place of nowhere. There's no working out. We're gonna have to fight, even if it's not right. I will show you how. There's no stopping now. We're standing in a place of nowhere. Wasted towns and burned down places. Get down on friendly faces now. Yeah. People running around at their own paces, out of way and out of spaces now. Yeah. And we're standing in a place of nowhere. Where you running? Are you going somewhere? We're standing in a place of nowhere. Where you running? Are you going somewhere? There's no working out. and I will show you how. There's no stopping now. We're standing in a place in the wind.
Welcome back to Cuppa TV. My next guest is a lady that from her own personal experience started a social enterprise and was recently awarded with 2 prestigious awards here in the West Midlands. We welcome back Raj Holness, Director of Breaking the Silence. Raj, thank you for coming again.
Thank you
onto
for
Cuppa
having
TV.
me.
So wonderful to see you, Raj. We had
Thank
such
you.
a good response to the last time you were on the show. I wanted to invite you back to talk a little bit more and in depth about your story and obviously your social enterprise.
Thank
so Raj,
you.
let's go right back to the beginning if I may.
Yes.
Tell us your story. Where did it all begin for you?
Okay, mine started obviously from when I was born. Parents wanted 4 children, 2 girls, 2 boys. I'm the 4th out of 5.
Here in the UK, you were born in the UK?
Born in the UK, I'm a Brummie girl. Not many people would admit that, but I don't mind.
No, proud to be Brummie,
Proud
that's
to
fine.
be Brummie. And then from there, my grandfather fell in love with me. My parents didn't want me because I was another girl. They wanted the boy. And thankfully for me, my grandfather loved me. And because he loved me, we're taught, especially in the Asian culture, we respect our elders. So because he loved me, everybody else had to at least pretend that they liked me. And that suited me okay, because he kept me safe. And then he died when I was 5. And it felt like the whole of hell had literally broke loose in my household. Everything that I had known had gone. And now everything's completely changed. So, I was growing up being told that I'm the extra person in the family, wasn't wanted. I'm the most palest out of my family, so I'm the most ugliest. And so you've grown up with these words that eventually become quite powerful when you hear them long enough. Hated myself, hated my life, started to get sexually abused, which started with my cousin and escalated to members of my family. Again, in silence, you're taught that you don't talk about things that go on in the house, and everything was very secret and hush-hush.
And how old were you then?
It started from when I was about 7 and escalated literally till I left home. So the abuse got more severe, physical, emotional, sexual. Tried to kill myself I don't know how many times. Thankfully, now, I'm grateful that it didn't happen. But at the time, really not understanding why it was happening to me. Why me? That was always my question, why me? And we're taught that, we believe in reincarnation. So I always believed that in my past life I must have been really bad. So I've just got to clean the slate, and then hopefully in my next life I'll come back in a better life, hopefully a different family. But that's how I grew up. It was very dark.
Traumatic.
Yeah, dark, morbid, went to school, nobody knew. If I was covered in bruises, I would get a letter given, so I can't do PE, etc. So I knew how to keep the secret.
And was it just yourself, Raj, and your family?
Yeah.
How did that make you feel, knowing it was just you?
Even worse about myself, because then I must be wrong. It must be my fault. And you're taught that, so you believe it. Both my sisters were fine. They got an odd smack here or there, even my brothers, but not to the point where mine was. Eventually, you heard of arranged marriages. Well, they decided when I was 18 that I'm going to get married. I thought I was.
Arranged marriage.
It was an arranged marriage. They found a guy from India for me and told me that. I was basically told, right, there's a guy, and he was my sister's in-laws family.
So you never met him?
Never met him.
Spoken to him?
I was told he was tall, dark and handsome.
And that's it?
based on people's interpretation. But yeah, that's all I knew. My family had gone ahead, and then I literally got to the airport. My dad found an Asian family that were going to India also, and just said, that's my daughter, make sure she gets to India, and that was it.
So you were put on a plane by yourself?
Put on a plane, never travelled anywhere, never
must have
further
been
than
traumatic.
London.
Just, just that plane journey.
Yeah.
And also with your state of mind from what you've gone through as a child.
Yeah.
Did you see that as maybe an opportunity at the time? Were you thinking this might be an opportunity, or did you know?
No, it's India. And there was no way.
I asked you that question because viewers who don't understand,
Yeah.
and maybe are thinking,
No.
how the culture, how your culture works,
Yeah.
and how people perceive it.
Well, it would have been that he would have ended up coming to England, which then would have meant that we would have lived together, whether it was with my sister's household, her and her in-laws, which wasn't the most ideal. And it wouldn't have been so bad, I think, if he was what they had said he was going to be, which
So
was
you got
all
on the
dark and
flight.
handsome. Yeah, so I got on the flight, scared, not knowing what to expect, know that I haven't got a choice. I'm not going to be able to say no even if I don't like him. Got to the house. By then they're making all the arrangements of the potentials are coming over. You're told how to be, how to dress, all the rest of it. So then they decided, rather than them come to us, we'll go to them. So we ended up going to them, and it was this whole big show of, yes, two families are coming together, and there's this guy at the front gate, and we have servants in India. So I assumed he was one of the servants, just directing everybody in. Got into the house, and then next thing you know, they're saying, right, he's coming. Like, don't look up, keep your head down, bowed.
Is that what you have to do? You have to keep your head down.
This was our family,
Yes.
so very traditional, very how it should be. So don't speak unless you're spoken to, it's that kind of thing. So obviously, if you're telling someone don't do something, obviously they're going to do it. I'm about to get married, I need to see who this guy is. So I'm having a bit of a sneak.
Yes.
And I was just like, there's no way. Oh God, I must have been really bad in my previous life.
How old was he?
He was about 14, 15.
So younger than you?
Younger than me, a lot taller. So they tried to pass him by as a 20, 21-year-old. He looked 9, just on extremely long legs. So it was like, this is just not going to work. And knowing that I didn't have a say, he sat opposite me, we tried to communicate, it didn't work. So it was like we were both speaking two completely different languages. And then, because I didn't deal with reality very well, I tried to convince myself, okay, Raj, you've got to get this to work. So how is this going to work for you? And me being me was like, okay, well, clearly I'm going to be wearing the trousers in this marriage because he doesn't understand anything. So I'm going to be able to do what I want, say what I want, and I'll be okay. And in my head, I've got to try and make a bad situation good. And good for
I
me.
can see that, from just telling your story, because you've
Yeah.
got this amazing humour
Yeah.
about you, Raj, which is such an endearing quality. And for all that you've been through,
Yeah.
it's even then, when you were younger, you've had this strong spirit
Yeah.
to get through what you had to get
Yeah.
through. So what happens then? Do you get married straight away? How does it
No,
work?
they took pictures. So it looked like I'd came on a family holiday and we've both fell in love and now we want to get married. So they're trying to apply for a visa for him. So we've come back home, they're sending all the paperwork and all the rest of it. So I have no say in nothing. Don't know what's going on other than the fact that they're preparing for him to come. And I remember we used to have this prayer room, and I would sit in this prayer room praying to any and everyone that would hear me. And as a Sikh, we have 10 gurus that we basically take instructions from. So I would sit there praying to everyone, even down to the Hindu gods, because I don't want to miss anybody out. Like, please don't let this happen. And the more that I prayed, the more that it felt like it was going against me. because now they're making arrangements
Yes.
for which house we're going to live in and when we're getting married, and this was like, no, this can't happen. And I remember just complete desperation, ran into the prayer room, sat down, and I just went, God, if you're real, please don't let his visa come through. By the next, I think it was the next day or 2 days, within 2 days, I think we found out his visa got declined. So I acted a bit sad.
Yeah.
Went in the prayer room, and I think I must have broke out in some praise dance, just high-fiving everybody that was in there, every image, anything you could possibly, because for the first time, somebody's listening to me. One prayer has got answered.
That must have been very empowering.
Oh
for you.
my gosh, that was it for me. Then it was just a matter of, right, narrow down who it was. So I know who to target the prayers to. But that was amazing. Just the sense of, wow, I've got out of this, not knowing that I hadn't. My family had come over, my mum's brothers. So they'd come over, and it was always a family affair. Anything to do with our family was always us.
And that's
and
quite,
my
again, that's a traditional thing, isn't it, as well?
So my uncles had come over, and there was just this atmosphere, and you sense when it's going to be bad. So the atmosphere is there, so I always knew, stay away. Don't open your mouth, don't do anything, just go in because we had a family business, go in the shop, run that. Next thing you know, I'm hearing my uncle scream my name. So you know something's
happened.
So I've ran in because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what have I done now? And he just went, the house phone's not working. Why isn't it working? I didn't answer what I wanted to answer, so I thought I did really well. I was like, I have no idea why the house phone would not be working. And it just so happened that the phone had come out of, the lead had come out of the socket.
Yes.
So I said, oh, it's just come out the socket. Next thing you know, my mum's running, my dad's running, and they're all like starting to cuss me. And she's always been like this. She talks back, and since she started work, it's like she's turning into a white girl who will answer her parents back. So you're like, well, firstly, the company that I'm working for are all Asian, so that doesn't make any sense. So I didn't say anything, and next thing you know, I remember my dad starting to really swear at me, and I just turned to my dad. I said, all I said was the phone isn't working, and the next thing I know,
Raj, we're going to have to leave it there just for a second. Stay there. Stay with us. We're going to take a short break. Come back and see us in just a minute. Welcome back to Cuppa TV. I'm still here with Raj from Breaking the Silence. Raj, just before we went to break, we were talking about your incident, and you just told me that you'd been knocked out. So you were in your home.
Yeah.
You were on the floor.
Yeah.
What happened then?
So by then, my uncle's basically having a field day while my family are standing around watching. So nobody's really coming to my aid, but it's acceptable that he's beating me. Then the next thing I know, they've left me on the floor and they've all gone to the pub, as in the men. So I'm lying there on the floor now. My mum eventually says, get up and come back into the kitchen. So I managed to get up. It took me a while. I dragged myself into the kitchen, and she just said, you should not answer back. And by then you learn to just go, okay, because there's nothing that's going to happen.
Had you done anything wrong at that point?
No. Other than just say, oh, it's just the leads
lead.
come out the socket, that's all. And but by then you're used to it, and that's sad.
I was going to say, did it become normal
Yeah.
for you? Did you feel that this was happening in every household?
Yeah.
Do you think this was normal behaviour?
Yeah. At least somebody in every household is going to experience what I'm experiencing. So it's okay. It's what happens and I just put it down to what happens in every Asian household. Raj, deal with it. It's been going on long enough for you now to be able to be okay with it. And you accept it. So it becomes your identity, that if you don't get slapped about, if you don't get abused, then you're not doing something right. And that's messed up if your whole mindset is turned upside down and inside out. So what is technically wrong
Becomes your right.
becomes your right. And that's a hard nut to crack. That's hard to break, is something that you've then instilled in your mind, and you've trained yourself to function in that way so that you live. So even though everyone's trying to kill you, you're surviving because you've turned it all around.
And during this time, were you educated? Did they
Yeah.
allow you to go to school
Yep.
and become educated?
Yeah, was in school as normal, would be timed to get there and back. So as soon as the bell was done, you would have to run home because I think I had 15 minutes to get home. So if I was later than 15 minutes, I would get beaten, or I'd have to explain what it was that I was late for. It'd have to be a good enough reason. So that became
Your norm,
Yeah.
really, your normal life.
yeah.
So after that beating
Yeah.
and the visa being declined from your first arranged marriage, what happened then?
While my uncle was beating me, actually disclosed that I was gonna still get married to this
The same
child.
child.
Yes. Can't even call him an adult, he was a child. I was still gonna get married, but they were gonna take me to India, marry me off there and leave me there. And at that point I believed him. I knew that they would do that. So they took me back to their house in Birmingham, because at the time we were living in Warsaw, and they kept me there because I was battered and bruised. So anytime they beat me up too bad, I would go back to my uncle's house until I looked normal again, and then they would send me home. So after about a week or so, I think I stayed with them, week and a half. They sent me back home, and that's when I realised, you've got to get out. And by then I was working, and I went to work as normal, and then I just never came back home. And I left and I stayed at a friend's house.
And
who
how
was-
old were you?
I was
How old were you?
18.
18.
And she was also around my age, but she was Asian also. And I remember her calling her parents and just said, my friend Raj is coming to stay with us. And they were like, yep, that's fine. And I think that at that point, I started to question what was happening in my house, because here you've got an Asian girl who is having a complete different experience to what I'm having. And my family would never take a stray in. And they've taken me in, and not only have they taken me in, they're loving me just as much.
And they knew what you were going through
Yeah.
in your family?
Yep, so the police were coming to the house every day, and they were calling me, and look, your family are calling every day, just please, just meet them. Because by now it's nearly a month that I've stayed away from home. I'm enjoying the freedom.
Yes.
I'm enjoying going out and doing what I want to do, and there's no fear of who's going to come and invade me, who's going to come and beat me, who have I got to hide from. I'm free for the first time. Met my boyfriend at that time, and I'm enjoying being away from home, missing them, because in a messed up kind of way I loved them.
They're still your family.
They're my family, and that's all I know. So I'm enjoying it. Was a bittersweet time, enjoying being out, but this vacant feeling now in my life that I have no family.
Because you've been so used to the years of abuse,
Yeah.
it became the norm, as you
Yeah.
said. So coming away from that, you probably felt like a bit of fish out of water.
Yeah,
almost.
and it literally did. So I'm dabbling in everything and anything to try and fit into this new lifestyle that I now have, and not quite fitting because Raj isn't herself. And eventually I agreed with the police to meet my family, just to get them to stop calling. Met them at the police station, and you could just basically say they put on a show. My mum came in, my dad, and I think it was one of my cousins, and my mum's literally all over the floor like it's a funeral. So she's put on a show, and I'm kind of like, yeah, used to you by now. But it was my dad that got me. So my dad came and he threw himself at my feet, and he started to cry and actually tell me that he loved me. And now that was the first time I'd heard my dad say that he loved me.
And how did that make you feel?
I'd already packed my bags in my mind. I've already packed and I've moved back home, because all my life that's all I wanted was to be daddy's girl, trying to prove to him that I can be everything that he wants me to be. So by the time my dad's got off the floor,
You were ready to leave.
I'm done.
Did you go back?
I did. I went back home, and the day before I went home I had a call, and it was a warning not to come back home, being told that they'd planned how they were going to kill me because I'd dishonoured them. But I'm not hearing anything because my dad said he loved me, and nobody's going to tell me any different. And I went back home and I got my friends to call my house every day at different times when they knew I'd be at home, pretending to be the police, so that if they didn't get hold of me, they knew that they'd done something to me. And my friends faithfully did it for about a year.
Really?
They called my house every day. And because of that, my dad never touched me. He couldn't even swear at me. He didn't do anything. And you could see that pent-up anger that he had then, because now there's no let out. There's no punching bag. He literally can't do anything. So by then, my second attempted marriage came on the scene. And this time they got a guy that was a lot older, and from the UK. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. So by now I'm engaged, full-on engagement. Wedding plans are done, and 3 months before my wedding, my mum convinced me to get what she thought were the police to stop calling the house, because if my in-laws are coming to the house, it doesn't look good. If the police keep calling, how are they going to explain that? So I believed them, and there's nothing that they're going to do. 3 months before the wedding, invites have all gone out. There's no way they're going to touch me or harm me in any way. So reluctantly, my friends stopped. Within a couple of days of them stopping, I believe it was about a day of them stopping. Next thing I know, I'm in hospital. My dad beat me and nearly put a brick to my face. By then we'd bought a house next door, so we'd just knocked the wall through. And he decided, today I'm going to kill you. And he just said, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. And I remember lying on the floor, and he's on top of me by now with this brick. And I see the brick, but I think what hurt most was the hatred that I saw in his eyes. And I remember lying there begging my dad at that point, kill me. I want to die. Please let me die. And by then, I think my mum must have thought, oh my gosh, this girl's gone crazy. So my mum threw herself on me so that my dad wouldn't hurt me. But by then, my mum had done more than enough to get my dad to that point of wanting to kill me. And I remember pushing my mum off, and I just said, listen, today you can watch your husband kill your daughter. I'm gone. I don't want to do this no more. And I believe I got to a point where the thought of getting up and brushing myself back off and standing smiling was too much work. I just couldn't do it one more time. And by then I'd given up. By then I think my dad had just gone crazy. It's like one of those horror movies. It's like he just got possessed, and he decided...
All the pent-up anger. That
yeah, because for a whole year he's not been able to do anything. And by then he's going crazy. My sister-in-law begged me, listen, if you love me, get up. And that's the only reason I got up. And I remember thinking, how am I going to get out of here alive? And then I just thought, phone, upstairs in my parents' room. So I'm running up the stairs by now. And it's like a herd following me, literally. Ran into my parents' bedroom, grabbed the phone, trying to dial 999. My mum grabbed the phone off me. How my mum got up them stairs so quick, I have no idea. So I don't even know how that happened. My mum's a big lady. So anyway, she got up. So she's trying to hold the door shut now. My dad's screaming mad. He's going to kill me, he's going to kill me. And by then I've grabbed the phone again, trying to dial for the police, and my mum pulled the phone out the socket. Next thing I know is, okay, Raj, you're going to have to get out of here. You've got two options. You either throw yourself out the window, which is going to hurt, and knowing my luck, I'll probably sprain an ankle. So I'm not doing that. And then the other thing was, we have swords called a Cuppa as Sikhs. And my parents had it behind the headboard. And in my head, I just grab the sword, pull it out of its cover, and just kill yourself. Like, it'll be quick, it's sharp. You won't feel a thing, hopefully. And I'm convincing myself to just end it. And I remember grabbing the sword. By then, my mum had grabbed me. by then my dad's broke the door down and he's literally like Kung Fu movie, done a running dive on me and just started to punch me. And I'm unconscious by then. In and out of consciousness, my uncles have turned up, and then next thing I know, my mum and my uncle are trying to drown me in the bath. My dad's literally gone crazy, like he wants to kill me, and my body had gone into shock. And all I felt was like my nerves had just seized up and I'd gone tense. So I couldn't even bend my hands, I couldn't do anything, I couldn't even move. And thankfully, because of that, they couldn't get me in the bath because I was
So you got into
rigid.
a spasm.
Yeah. So eventually my brother came and they'd locked the bathroom door because they'd said they were going to splash water on me because they thought I'd taken drugs, because they'd never seen what was happening to my body. So they just, yep, you know, she's taken something and that's why. So now we're going to beat her and ask her who her drug dealer is. So it just become a circus, literally. Eventually my sister-in-law begged them to call the paramedics. They're having a debate while I'm in and out of consciousness of whether they should call them. And then next thing I remember them going is, okay, yeah, we'll have to, because where would we hide the body now if she died? And that's the only reason they called the paramedics. So
You went into hospital.
yeah, went into hospital. Long story short of that, I managed to get out. And I left home, went into, a friend of mine had taken me to a police station. And then I got into the police station and told them what had happened. They'd taken pictures, wrote a report. Do you want to press charges? And I'm thinking, charges? Court? My parents locked up? No, I just want to get away.
So even after all that you've been through,
Yeah.
you were still protecting your parents.
Yeah, because they're all I have. They're all I've known. And as messed up as they were, I couldn't imagine them being locked up. But it was okay for them to nearly kill me. But at that time, I'm so afraid that they're going to come into the station and they would kill me. The police then put me in a battered women's home. And that was a shock to my system because I didn't know where I was going, what the place would be like. I'd never even heard of a battered women's home. What is that? It doesn't even sound good. And then I remember being there, and it was quite early hours in the morning. I think by then it was about 2-3 o'clock in the morning. So everyone obviously sleeping, it's dark. I've got in there and the lady that was there escorted me to my room, and I remember just sitting in this room and I just broke down, because that for me was, what have you just done? Because within minutes I'd just made myself an orphan. That's it. There's no way I could ever go back now. That door's closed. And that was hard to know that I'm sitting here now as Raj with no identity, nobody to belong to, and I'm alone. And even though I had my boyfriend at the time, but it's not.
You had no family.
Yeah.
You felt you had no family.
Yeah, and that was really tough. So I was in and out of women's refuge. Family kept finding me. They'd handed my photo out to people. They'd paid people to look for me. And thankfully for me, every time I'd got somewhere, I'd always get a call from them first to say, we know where you are, come home. And I'd make my excuses, and then next thing you know, I'm moved. Literally felt like shipped off to the next place. And that kind of went on for a little while. Suicidal all my life, even when I left home, tried to commit suicide. I just couldn't cope with
And what was
life.
the turning point for you, Raj?
Wow. A turning point was definitely when my partner had introduced me to his friends. And most of his friends I didn't like. I didn't like them at all. But it was this one friend that he kept till last. And I never understood why. And he just said, right, you're going to meet one of my good friends and he's Christian. And at that time I'm like, there's no way I'm meeting a Christian person, I'm not interested. And because I had this image of them with this big Bible and just beat you with it, you will repent. Yeah. And I was just, there's no way. And when I met him, that's when I felt this safe feeling that I'd never felt. And he introduced me and he went, right, you know, come over the weekend, meet my wife and my children. And I wasn't used to that. And these were, it was a Jamaican family. So the guys that I went out with were Jamaican. So I was used to them being homely and feeling good. I never trusted the guy that I was with, let alone this stranger. Went to their house, met the family, and the minute I met the guy's wife, she just ran over. Like, at that time you're thinking, okay, crazy woman, why is she running to me? And she just ran and hugged me. And I remember from when she hugged me, that was the first time I felt like I could trust someone. From after my grandfather passed away, never trusted anybody, never let anybody in.
Which is when you were very young, so
yeah.
that was a big thing.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it was like I felt I could tell her everything of my life, and I knew that I'd be okay. Not that I did tell her anything, but I knew that I was safe, and they'd invite me to church, and I'd feel that same peace that I felt in their house when I'd come to church. And I couldn't understand that feeling because I battled with that. I can't become a Christian because I'm a Sikh girl. I'm a proud Sikh girl. I've left home, so if my parents tomorrow decide to take me in, they're going to kill me twice over for being a Christian. So I would try and convert them to Sikhism. So there was a bit of this competition, I'm going to get you before you get me. But you can't fight what's there. You can't fight peace. You can't fight love that is just so transparent and it's so tangible that there was no, I couldn't talk that away. I couldn't try and twist that around and pull it inside out like I used to do with everything. And that's when I realised, you know what, there's something here. So church on a Sunday became a bit of a fix. So I'd live my life from a Monday to a Saturday doing what I did. And then I'd go to church on a Sunday, feel all good.
And it's changed your life around though, Raj.
Yeah,
it's changed your life around.
Yeah, I nearly committed suicide with the guy that I was with. He nearly killed me. Went manic like my dad did that day and nearly killed me. And I remember calling on every God I'd ever known and believed in and heard of, and by then I'm blacking out and my eyes had started to lock back, and I literally felt like my soul leaving my body.
Well, Raj, it's been an absolute pleasure to have
Thank
you.
you.
So thank you so much for coming back.
No, thank you for having me back.
Sharing your story. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Well deserved awards. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's it for today's show. I'd like to thank Raj and the band I Am for joining me today. And if you'd like to get in touch with us here at Cuppa TV, you can join us on Facebook or Twitter at Big Centre TV. We'd love to hear from you. Come back and join me again very soon. Bye-bye.